Hey guys! So with me finishing the shirt last week, I want to continue on this J fashion journey and make something that I've never made before. So if you're not too familiar with Lolita fashion, a lot of the skirts and dresses are meant to look really poofy and cupcakey. And you achieve that with a petticoat, usually a tulle one. I don't own any petticoats, and a few years ago I thought, let me try and make one. Never even attempted it, but I want to try and make one now. I have something that I had made for Halloween a few years ago. I want to say 2021. I don't really know what I was going for. I don't remember what I had seen that made me want to try and recreate this. But it's kind of like a bustle in I think it's like Victorian era fashion. But it was going to be made out of not, maybe like a cage and fabric and like the way it was traditionally, but to make it out of layers of tulle. The rest of the costume wasn't that great either. But I did make this kind of bustle thing that I wore around my waist, and I still have it. It's been kind of shoved somewhere for a while, but it's really big, and there's lots of stiff tulle in here, as well as a softer tulle, and then there's even lace at the top that I might try to incorporate. I'm not really sure. As you can see, it's got a kind of layered effect. I don't know where the rest of this stiff tulle is, the bits that are shorter. They might be in the bin in the corner here. I know I have leftover tools and lace from this project. It's not very well made. You can see the waistband here is just some black ribbon, and there's all this raw edge hanging out here. I did not achieve at actually covering up the raw edges. And then there's more black ribbon sewn onto the ends with a large hook and eye to actually connect it around the waist, so it's not just tying the ribbon, which can come undone. It was worn for a Halloween party at a friend's. We didn't even go out. It was just to hang out. And I don't even think I wore this for very long because it was so long, it dragged and people were stepping on it. But yeah, it's just kind of been hanging out for a while, and I have all of this stiff black tulle that I can hopefully turn into a petticoat. Like I said, I've never made one before, but I had already bought a presser foot for this project. It's this gathering foot. I saw a video that used this foot in it on how to make a petticoat very easily, and instead of having to do gathering. At this point, my mic decided to die on me. So I'll quickly go over the rest of the stuff that I talked about, and then we'll continue with the video. The petticoat isn't the only thing that I plan on making for this video. I plan on making a skirt with this fabric here, even though it's not really my color palette. It's a very, very, very dark blue background with some blue flowers and orange flowers and obviously pumpkins. All right, my mic died, so you're getting phone audio. Something I didn't remember was that I sewed 2 layers for each, I guess, section. I don't know if I took the full length of it and folded it long ways, or I don't have any memory. I made a TikTok for it, I think. If I find it, I'll post it here. But I got all of my tulle separated, and since each layer was 2 pieces, hopefully that means I have enough. Sorry, I'm moving around. So lots of tulle. The next thing is to probably straighten it out somehow. I should probably iron it. I assume I have to do it on a low setting. I'll save you the pain of having to watch me iron all of this tulle. I also have the soft tulle here and the lace. I definitely know I have more of this in the bin because I remember seeing it while I was cleaning up. I don't think I put that downstairs. I think that's still up here, knowing that I wanted to do this soon. But yeah, I will see you after I finish ironing all of this. Okay, I have everything ironed. It was a real pain in the butt because it got real staticky. Here it all is. So pretty and flat. I had to use basically the lowest setting on my iron, and it was so grabby on the ironing board, and it was staticky, and it was just a pain in my butt. The next thing I should probably do is figure out how long I want it to be. Actually, can you see that? So I want it to be about as long as this skirt, but not longer than it. Skirt's a little, it was probably 26 inches when I cut it. It's now about 25 and a half. But that's not my waist. My waist sits a little lower, and I don't want it to be longer than the skirt. If I make it 24 inches maybe, and it doesn't take up some of the length, like this will be shorter. So 20 to 24 inches. The tutorial I watched had the petticoat be really short on her, but I still want it to basically come down to my knees. So the way the tutorial, she does it, she made 3 tiers. She figured out how tall she wanted each tier to be, added seam allowance, and then cut a bunch of strips to that length, and then just continuously sewed them all together. So she had one giant length of tulle, and then got her elastic to the waist measurement she needed, sewed it into a loop, and then while stretching the elastic, sewed that first row of tulle on. When she met back up with herself, cut it, sewed it flat, and then with the next row, used the special foot to gather the next row onto the first one. And this is all just one continuous strip of tulle. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. I feel like other people have done that too. That's just the one that I actually watched all the way through because it was a very short video. I did end up watching a Kira Lee cosplay video about making a petticoat as well, but then I didn't watch it all the way through. So I think she did this method as well. Yeah, so I'll just cut out 10-inch strips somehow and just cut out as much as I possibly can. And that's where I'll start. This is going to be harder than I thought.
Like, what the hell? That's crazy. I wish you think about that. Look, Arn Erickson. It's Gwen. Gwen Street. Clear street seems to be probably. How are we going to figure this out? I want to say this is so. What are we going to find? Are we going to find a fucking state flag? License plate. Doesn't look like that, though. I mean, it's yellow. Well, let's do Jersey. Okay. You know that better. Try Northern New Jersey. Where it says New York. Philadelphia's right there. That's right. That's also beautiful.
like me doing that. How am I supposed to do it if it doesn't like me doing that?
Okay, here's what happened. In that tutorial, what she says to do is after the elastic is sewn into a loop, you put it under the foot and you pull the elastic so that when you let go, it scrunches up the tool. I did that and it bent my needle. So I thought, oh, I must have had the needle in the elastic when I did it. I wasn't paying attention, so it bent the needle from me pulling on it. I'll put a new one in, I'll try again. It didn't like me having the elastic caught. It didn't like that I was pulling on the elastic. And I remembered that she used an industrial sewing machine. Because after she did this part, she said, let's now go to my domestic sewing machine to do the rest. So I said, no, I'm not going to continue fighting with my machine. I'm going to sew it on how I want to, which is to hand gather it. As you saw, I basically just kind of scrunch it up and push it through. Looking at the foot, I realized it doesn't have the thing on it that I expected. I expect it to look like this. And it would connect to the thing that this connects to. No, I would have to remove that entire mechanism for it to connect. It connects onto the bar itself. And I don't feel like dealing with that. I also don't feel like dealing with using a presser foot I've never used before on something that already annoys me because of the whole elastic thing. So I think I'm just going to hand gather it like I did on the elastic, scrunch it up, feed it through. Yeah, because it still will have volume. Might not be as much volume for if I use that foot or whatever. Maybe if it's not tool, if I do something where I need to sew gathers onto it and I don't feel like doing it the traditional way, I'll use this foot, but not right now. Knife go in and then knife go out and then hot flushing blood and sweating hands. Oh. No. Here, this is for Wade. Okay, I got the petticoat done. It was a lot more difficult to do than I thought it would. The presser foot, the gathering foot, did not behave how I thought it would. I didn't expect it to be so difficult to get the tool to go through it at a consistent rate. Like, I didn't realize that I would be physically moving the side that was in the little top slot here that is not being moved by the feed dogs on the machine. So the gathers are, I think, kind of inconsistent across the whole thing, but it's whatever. It's done. I do not like working with Tulle. I do not suggest working with Tulle. It is easy in the fact that you do not have to hem it. It does not fray, but it's not easy because it's very grabby. The cut ends, any edges are really grabby. Basically, the entire thing is because it's just really small netting. It's netting. I used up all of the more plain looking black Tulle, but I did not use up all the Tulle that I had cut. I still have all of this of the more shimmery Tulle. I don't know if that comes up on camera. I used 2 pieces of it because the Tulle that I had did not completely reach all the way around the bottom tier. I switched to the foot because hand gathering the second tier was more difficult because of the grabby nature of the Tulle. I don't know how much I used in total. Considering I used all of that one type of Tulle, I feel like that was like 3 yards, and it wasn't quite enough for somebody my size. And that was with hand gathering 2 tiers, the tier connected to the waistband and the second tier, because the method of stretching the elastic does not work. I've seen so many people do that where, oh, you stretch the elastic and it gathers the fabric, and it's like, cool. It made my machine behave weird. So I don't know what people are doing. I don't know what kind of machine people are using. I don't know what people are doing to make it work for them. Obviously, an industrial machine will be much more powerful than a domestic one. Even mine, which, is a heavy duty machine, if I had used the foot on the second tier, I might have ended up using all of the Tulle, but since I hand gathered it, it was just not as gathered as the third tier. I have not tried it on yet. I kind of want to try it on with the skirt that I'm about to make, even though I could wear it under the orange dress. So I don't know if it's poofy enough. It looks very poofy. Like, I had a lot of Tulle after I did the first and second tier, so much so that that's why I didn't add any more to it until I realized I didn't have enough. It was so much that I'm like, oh, surely this will be enough for the third tier, and it almost was. So the third tier is very poofy. So I don't know if I'll maybe go through. I don't know if I want to try and add more Tulle to it, because that will be very difficult considering it is fully constructed. I could theoretically make a second petticoat to go on top of it, and it only attaches at the waistband, but I don't know if I have enough of Tulle for that. I most likely would have enough of the black Tulle to do the first 2 tiers hand gathering it. Regardless, I don't know if I'm going to add more Tulle to it or not. But now we're going to get started on the skirt. Here's the fabric again. I think it's about 3 or 4 yards, probably 3, just judging by how much there is. The type of skirt that I made for the orange dress, I used my A-line pattern from the Ren Fair costume pattern, and I just cut it shorter, and I cut out 4 panels instead of 3, which is what that pattern calls for. But I feel like because this has such a bold print, I don't want to have A-line shaped pieces because it'll be really obvious that it's pieced. Not that it wouldn't be obvious that it's pieced together. Basically, what I want to do is just do 2 giant rectangles. I'm going to make 2 giant rectangles, pockets. You cannot forget pockets, and a waistband, and then probably just a button closure. We'll see what I get. I don't know how much there is of this. I need to iron it because it's been folded up for a couple of years now. It is washed. I did wash it already, so I don't have to do that again. Yeah, so I'm going to iron it, and then I'm going to see how much there is. And I want to make sure I have the print running in the right direction. So this is the right direction. Yeah, let's do that.
Like I'm likely by death. Why not just load save? Because
and that's who I want to be. My nature because so I shall I'm gonna have to wait on that. Just a few more things that need to be brought into the attic, but let me see.
Something you don't normally see, because I don't post it in my videos, is the amount of time I just kind of sit around and think. So I ended up with 6 panels. Oh, that's really zoomed in. That's better. 6 panels. I want to say probably closer to 4 yards, because 3 yards just barely gets me enough for, well, maybe it was 3 yards. Anyway, I also whipped up a waistband real quick. I just made 2 4.5-inch long strips, and I sewed them together just to make sure I have enough, because I knew that the width of the fabric was not long enough. Like I held up the fabric to my waist just to see, out of curiosity, like if I wasn't making a super gathered skirt, how many panels would I need? I would need 2. So basically it's a little over the width of, or half of the width of my waist. So I managed to get 6 panels. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna probably pleat it, because I prefer pleats over gathers, or I might do the lazy lady method and pin the crap out of it and then just kind of roughly gather. I don't know. So I have 6 panels, but in order to continue, I need to figure out how to construct it and how I'm going to fasten it closed. Because in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'll just do a button closure. It'll be fine. But I need to figure out how long the waistband needs to be first. And I kind of held it up to my waist, but knowing that even though cotton is a non-stretch fabric, it will still stretch a little bit. And with the waistband being as thin as it is, it stretches a lot more. And I'm just trying to like figure out how long the waistband should be. Ideally, I should just measure my waist. I probably will. I'll measure my waist and then add a couple inches for seam allowance and stuff. But because it's 6 panels, I have to figure out where the button closure is going to place. Ideally, it's going to place at a seam. I'm going to have a seam on either side, and then 2 in the front and 2 in the back, because 3 panels.
and there's going to be pockets, as you saw, on the side seams. So it was really just a matter of like figuring out stuff, and I just kind of sit and think and visualize stuff in my head until I have some semblance of an idea of what I want to do. Oh, I never ironed that. Oh well. I knew the way that I did hems sucked. It's the lazy way. You fold it over once, you sew it down, you fold it over a second time, you sew it down, and then you iron. Because I ain't measuring the hem and pinning it and all that, especially with something as big as this. But man, is it curvy. You won't notice it once it's all gathered up into the waistband, so it really doesn't matter. But man, is it bad. Ow! Ow! So staticky.
Here it is. It went a lot faster than I expected. Don't mind my badly tied tie. This also is not a shirt meant for ties, but I wanted to kind of try and complete the outfit somehow. It's either that or this one. These are some of my dad's old ties. But yeah, the waistband ended up a little looser than I expected. I probably should have brought the buttonhole over some. I ended up having to do the buttonhole by hand. I tried doing it on the machine, but because it was so thick with the ruffles or the gathers, it was making it a little difficult to go through the machine. So I ended up taking the whole thing out and doing it by hand. The skirt, I initially was going to do pleats because I find them much easier, but because I used 6 panels, which was way too much, to try and do what I called the lazy lady method earlier, is basically you pin the hell out of it and then you just kind of lazily pleat it as you sew. But because there was so much fabric for each panel, it had to have been, one panel had like the width of the fabric from selvage to selvage was probably about 55 inches, which is a lot. And I really did not need 6 panels. But a part of me was like, I don't want to do 4 panels because then there would be a seam down the front. But I needed seams on the sides for my pockets, which I do have. Here's one. Where's the other one? I feel it. There it is. There's the other one. So I got 2 nice big pockets. But I probably should have just done 4 panels. It would have worked out fine. It would have been plenty full enough. Because there's 6 panels, I do think the weight of the fabric is kind of crushing the petticoat a little bit. Let's see if I can show it to you. Oh, grab some of the petticoat there. For a thinner skirt or a skirt with less fabric in it, it might be strong enough. I don't know how well you can see it. It's kind of hard. I'm wearing black pants and it's black. I can tell that it is holding the skirt out a little bit, but from what I see from like websites that sell Lolita fashion, it's a little bit more cupcakey. Like I said, after I finish the petticoat, it's really not as gathered around the first or second tier. And maybe I'll add something to add more floof here. I don't know. I really don't know if I want to work on it. The petticoat's actually too long, I think, for the skirt. The skirt, I measured out each panel to be 25 inches, forgetting about the hem. And I did make the hem probably a little too big. I was thinking, 25 will be fine. I'll be adding a waistband, but I couldn't make the waistband as big as I wanted because I didn't have enough fabric left over since I had cut out so many panels. I'm really happy with the way it looks. I love the pattern. I love the fabric a lot. It's definitely very autumn because it's covered in pumpkins. Because the waistband isn't as tight as it should have been, I made the waistband 50 inches. But when I was measuring myself, I was measuring out at 48 at my waist. But because I didn't pull it tight enough, it won't actually sit at my waist. To actually have it sit at my waist, the waistband still has a lot of room to fold over. Maybe I'll add like a hook and eye or something because I can't exactly redo the buttonhole because I had cut a hole in the fabric to do it. I'll show it to you without the button in the way. I ended up doing it by hand with a matching embroidery thread. You can see it a little bit better on the back there. And the button is this little blue flower button that I had used on my casual one-piece dress that I had made a while ago. So maybe I'll add a little hook and eye to make that fit a little bit better. Overall, the construction isn't that hard. It was just a bunch of rectangles and figuring out the placement for the pockets. I didn't want them so high that they interfere with the waistband. So they're roughly maybe 1.5 inches down, and I make sure they're nice and big. The petticoat is too long with this skirt. I actually folded the waistband over 3 times because I measured it. I don't know what my measurements were. I measured out 24 inches, I think. And then I made each tier. Yeah, I think my calculations were 24 inches for the total length of the petticoat, plus seam allowance, 3 tiers. So it came out to like 8.33333. So by adding seam allowance, it makes it 10 inches. So the petticoat should have been about the right length. It's probably closer to 30 inches than I actually want. But that's okay. It's not that hard to fold over like I just showed you. I just have to make sure that my skirts aren't too loose and that the waistband shows. If I wear it with a JSK, that won't be an issue. Again, I just have to make sure it's high enough on my waist that you can't see the bottom of the petticoat. There you can see it comes to about my knees, and I don't think you can see the petticoat underneath. No, the rolling of the waistband on the petticoat makes it so that the skirt isn't too short on it, or I should say the petticoat isn't too long, but it's very floofy. Probably, again, if I didn't use so many panels, it wouldn't be as compacted down. I think the compacting here on the sides from the pockets, that is right where they are. But overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Don't mind my slippers. Again, the waistband's a little looser than it needs to be. I really think I might do it right after I finish filming this. Add in a hook and eye to kind of tighten it in so it will sit higher on my waist like it should, so I don't have to worry about the waistband of the petticoat showing at all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy crochet, sewing, or any other kinds of crafts, please consider a follow. I upload every Sunday, and I hope to see you there. Bye!